So today's video is going to be about my job. Thank you, Ziva. I received quite a lot of questions regarding my last video. It was a vlog about picking up a dog from the airport to train to be a personal protection dog. I had a conversation with someone in the comments, and I actually had a few people message me on Instagram with some questions as well. So I figured that I would make another video and kind of address what my job is, what is a personal protection dog, and kind of go from there. I work at a business that trains dogs. We specialize in personal protection dogs, but we also do obedience, we do detection work, we have done a few service dogs, but that's not really our specialty. If people come to us with like a need and we're able to accommodate that, then we will help them. But generally speaking, what we do is personal protection dogs. A personal protection dog is a dog that has been specifically trained to protect you, to go and bite someone in order to protect you. There are also such things as deterrent dogs, which are dogs that generally are just all bark and no bite. One of the big things is that the protection dogs are protecting you. They're protecting a person. They are not protecting property or an object or whatever. They're protecting a person. So that's a really important distinction to note. It's also important to note that a lot of people are like, oh, my dog will protect me, you know? And there's like a 0.1 chance that your dog will actually protect you when the time comes. The dog may feel defensive and actually go after somebody. The dog may be resource guarding and go after. But the thing is, once you apply a lot of pressure to that dog, there is a very, very high chance that that dog will release that bite. A defensive dog is not a dog that you want in protection work at all. Hi Ziva. As I was saying, you do not want a dog in defensive drive when they're doing protection work. You want them in prey drive. That's where they're going to be confident and wanting to go after that person. They're going to do a full bite instead of a frontal bite, which looks like, so a full bite is coming in and the back teeth are gripping on, versus a frontal bite is just those front teeth and the canines gripping on, which if the dog does a frontal bite can actually hurt the dog, and it's not going to really do a whole lot long term in order to hold somebody if they're trying to hurt you. So that's why you want a confident dog that has been trained to go and bite people. You don't really want a dog that is skittish or maybe prone to like resource guarding or anything like that. You don't want any of that, because you need a very, very stable dog in order for the dog to not go crazy and just bite anybody, but also to still have that desire to go bite no matter how much pressure is put on the dog. So it's a very delicate balance. You need, like I said, it takes a very special kind of dog to be able to be a personal protection dog. We don't go out looking for an aggressive dog or whatever. You go out looking for the friendly dogs, but ones that, you know, have drive, have that energy, all of that. The most typical breeds that you will see in this kind of work are maybe Belgian Malinois, German Shepherds, Dobermans, Rottweilers, all those kinds of dogs. I've seen bully breeds do it. The company that I work with, we typically deal with Malinois. Every now and then maybe we'll import a Shepherd, but typically we deal with the Malinois. These are all dogs that have the desire to bite in their genetics. That makes them much more likely to succeed. I have seen other breeds of dogs do bite work. There are unicorns out there. I have seen like a border collie do it. But I will say that I haven't seen a personal protection dog that is not like one of those main breeds like that. Like you don't see a golden being a personal protection dog really. If there is one, I would be really interested to see that. Not just doing bite work, but like actually being a protection dog. I think that would be really interesting. Anyways, speaking of sport versus personal protection, those two things are trained totally different. Sports, we have IGP and PSA, both of which have their own differences, and then we also have protection. Generally speaking, I would say that starting out, it's pretty similar, but the requirements for those three things are different. For example, IGP is very structured. It's a lot of the same routine type of things. There's not a lot of variety in the situations that your dog will encounter. On the other hand, PSA does have a little bit more variety in the situations that you encounter. Between those two, I would say that PSA is most like protection work, but that being said, it is still very different. Bite work is different from sports in that different scenarios and different pressure is applied to the dog. Eventually you'll get to, hidden sleeves, different scenarios such as like break-ins and such to proof the dog, to make sure that the dog will perform under that pressure, because that's what a real life scenario is going to be like. You wouldn't really do anything like that in sport. That being said, all bite work is, I think I mentioned this earlier, you train it in prey drive versus defense drive. It's all a game for them. It's super fun. If a dog doesn't want to bite, it won't bite. Again, it may do that frontal bite, or it just may not bite at all. So you can definitely see when the desire is there to want to bite. And if a dog is not willing to, then they just won't do that kind of work. Typically when we are working a dog, they will be in some kind of harness, agitation harness, or there are some tactical harnesses out there by like Ice Fang and One Tigress that make good harnesses for this. That's typically what we would clip the dog up to. I have seen people use like 2-inch collars or whatever and clip them up to that. And that's the gear that we pretty much use every time we train a dog. Some people, I have noticed this quite a bit in the dog industry where they think that just because your dog is well behaved, they get the same rights as a service dog. And that is not true, and that is also not true with a protection dog. Some people think that protection means that their dog can go everywhere with them, and that is not the case. Protection work is not a task under the ADA, so it does not allow a dog to go anywhere. In addition to that, a dog trained in protection work cannot be a service animal. That is not in the ADA. That is a decision made by the Department of Justice, and that excludes any dog that has been trained in protection. So basically, they have the same rights as pets, but interestingly enough, under the law they are considered weapons, so that there's that added level of classification, I guess. On the topic of legality, somebody did ask me a question about what happens when the dog does bite. It's hard when it comes to animal bites in general. Depending on what's happening, you can claim self-defense, which is another reason why we train the dog to protect the person and not property, because if it is protecting you, you can claim self-defense. But let's say your dog is unstable, or it just suddenly has a moment where it's like, I'm going to go bite that guy, and it does, you can't claim anything at that point. That is on you, and that is something that you do have to be careful with. It's part of the reason why you have to train protection dogs a very specific way. So they are only trained to bite on command. There is one command that we do called watch, where if you tell the dog to watch, the dog has the ability to just make its own decisions as long as that command is in action, so to speak. So let's say you're a parent and you left your child alone with this dog and you put the dog in watch mode. If somebody came up and tried to kidnap your kid, then the dog would be able to make the decision, oh, I'm going to go bite this kidnapper or potential kidnapper. And that would be considered on command because you put the dog in watch mode. The dog is typically given a specific word before biting somebody. Being able to handle a dog like this takes a very special kind of person. You have to be on your A game, you have to know what you're doing. Somebody asked me if, only cops can have these kinds of dogs, or people in similar walks of life where their life might be in more danger typically. The answer is no. Anyone can have a personal protection dog, any civilian, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like I said, you do have to make sure that you are prepared for the responsibility, because it's a big responsibility and it's a big liability. So you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. On that note, you typically get all kinds of people inquiring about personal protection dogs. Some people legitimately have a reason for possibly needing one, and some people just think that it's cool. And that is not the right reason to have a personal protection dog. It is typically those kinds of people that maybe will get a dog and try to train it themselves, or maybe someone's irresponsible and does sell someone like this a dog, and they'll go around being like, oh, my dog's a personal protection dog, and try to show off and do all these different kinds of things, and that is very, very dangerous. That is not okay. Typically, you don't want to brag that you have a personal protection dog. People are going to want to try and test it. People may like that idea and try to steal your dog. People just do weird things. So even if you do have a personal protection dog, it's really not something that you should be broadcasting to everybody around you. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to go watch the video that this one was based off of, I will link it below. It is the video that I posted right before this one. Anyways, I hope that this video answered a lot of your questions. If there's any questions that I didn't address, or if this video brought up any more questions, feel free to message me or drop a comment below, and I'll try to address that. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.